The end of this week's portion, Toldot, helps us compare and contrast the end of the life of Isaac to the end of the life of Abraham. Two very important events happen at the end of Abraham's life and the end of Isaac's life. Near the end of Abraham's life, he takes Isaac up to Mount Moriah to fulfill the commandment from God to offer his son there. It's a very decisive act, an act of true faith and trust in God, and an understanding of what God wants Abraham to do. Abraham's eyes were wide open, and he went into that task with full knowledge of what he was about to do. That was found at the end of the portion Vayera, the portion we read 2 weeks ago. The end of this week's portion, Toldot, finds a totally different picture regarding our second patriarch, Isaac. At the beginning of the story, we're told that Isaac is blind. Abraham's eyes were wide open with his mission of taking Isaac, but Isaac's eyes were blind, and he wants to bless his son to ensure that the tradition carries on to the next generation. He wants to bless Esau, but of course Jacob famously, with the help of his mother Rebekah, disguises himself as Esau and receives that blessing. How do we understand these two characters? Abraham, full knowledge of what he was doing. Isaac, totally blind, literally and figuratively, to what he was doing. Why does the Torah present two completely different pictures for two of our three patriarchs? What are we supposed to learn from that? And I ask this question because we might think the Torah should present these important figures in our history as perfect, religious, upstanding people. Instead, we find people with human frailties. Abraham seems religiously to be perfect, but he has many issues with family dynamics. Isaac seems to be very passive and seems to be unknowing of things around him. And I think the answer to my question as to why these two different pictures are here is to help us understand that we are not perfect, and the characters in the Torah are not perfect, and yet Abraham and Isaac and many others in our tradition were able to rise above their imperfections and develop a very strong relationship to God. If they can do it, so can we. So let's not be put off or seem to think that the characters in the Bible are unreachable for us. Rather, let us understand them as real people, as the Torah presents them, and see what lessons we can learn from them. And that way, maybe our Jewish lives can be enriched and fulfilled as well. Shabbat Shalom.